Is the sugar diet really absolute rubbish? If sugar cured obesity, we'd all be slim by now. Supermarkets are full of it. If it was medicine, the NHS could prescribe you a box of Jaffa cakes and we'd all be wandering around with six packs and glowing skin. But that's not what's happening, is it? Waistlines are expanding. Type 2 diabetes is the norm. And brain fog is so common, it's practically a national sport. So today I'm exposing the so-called sugar diet, why it's absolute rubbish and what actually works if you want to regain health, lose fat and improve your metabolism above the age of 40. So this so-called, do you want this? Ready? Come on then. This so-called sugar diet, it's been floating around on the internet for a few months now. The idea is this: you restrict protein, you eat lots of sugar, and voila, your metabolism heals. Supposedly it starves bad bacteria and it boosts a hormone called FGF21 and your metabolism's going to heal. So sounds really scientific, doesn't it? And big words, complicated pathways, gut bugs, hormones, all the things. All sprinkled with a little icing sugar on a donut. But when you look more closely, it's pure nonsense. Clever marketing dressed up as biology. I'm Emma Voysey, board certified health coach and sugar slayer, and living proof that you don't need calorie counting or Haribo medicine to fix a midlife metabolism. And that's what I do. I coach my clients to better health using And that's what I do. I coach my clients to better health, whether that's weight loss or reversing insulin resistance or lowering blood pressure or any of many health-related problems, reversing addictions, a whole host of other metabolic dysfunctions. So let's stop falling for daft diet trends, like the idea that jelly babies are a health food. My son's doing some amazing scenery filming on his drone. We're filming today in Aronsel in Andorra, in the ski area, it is, as you can see, a glorious September day. Very lucky, and we're going to give you some views from above as well, so you can just see how amazing the landscape is in Andorra, which is where I live, in the Pyrenees. So, myth number one: protein is the problem. The sugar diet says protein is bad for fat loss. Honestly, that's so backward. It makes my eyes water. Protein isn't optional, it's essential. It builds and repairs your muscles, your hormones, your enzymes, skin, immune system. Without it, you would fall apart. So you cut the protein and yes, the scales might move, but that's because you're losing muscle, not fat. And when muscle goes down, metabolism slows, energy crashes, fat creeps back in faster than a teenager sneaking home after curfew. That's not a diet, that's self-sabotage. What do you think of the drone? Hey? Hey? Myth number two: cysteine is the villain. Next, they say an amino acid called cysteine is the big bad wolf, and it's feeding bad bacteria in your gut. So, reality check. Cysteine is also vital. It helps make glutathione, your master antioxidant. Without glutathione, your detox system completely grinds to a halt. So no repair, no defense, no resilience. And blaming one amino acid for one gut bug for obesity, that's like blaming the Great Fire of London on one spark and ignoring the fact that the whole city was built of rotting timber and there was a very strong wind which fanned the flames. A little bit of a history there for you. Obesity is really complex. Insulin and cortisol, your circadian rhythm, your environment, your food quality. It's not just cysteine made me fat. And here's the real kicker: nothing fuels bad gut bugs better than, what was that word? Sugar. Sugar is like gut bugs' Glastonbury ticket, front row, mud and all. which is why sugar cravings can feel so super overwhelming. Those bugs are literally screaming, "Feed us!" and they're inside your gut. They're not subtle either. It's like having an angry toddler in the middle of the cereal aisle at the supermarket. Bon dia. Bon dia. Myth number 3, the FGF21 miracle. Ah yes, the hormone trick. FGF21, it's real. It regulates energy. But sugar fans spin it like this. Sugar raises FGF21, therefore sugar is good. That's like saying ambulances cause car crashes just because they're always there at the scene. So in reality, FGF21 shoots up when your metabolism is stressed. It's not a badge of health, it's your body firing a distress flare or distress signal. I came across a YouTuber just yesterday, I mean there's a ton of them out there, who claimed that she only eats fruit and sugar, absolute kilos and kilos of it every month. Apparently she's thriving on it. And she's in the peak of health. It just doesn't add up. I subscribed so I could watch her journey and see how she looks in 10 years' time. Dr. Sean O'Mara, I've mentioned him lots of times on my videos, brilliant doctor, American guy. He's probably the world's leading expert in visceral fat and the detection of it, the way to how to get rid of it. And he looks at it very closely using MRI scans, so he can see right inside the body. He says that the worst levels of visceral fat that he ever sees are in people who've either been plant-based or they're vegetarian, they've been that way for a few years, and sometimes, in some cases, just a few months. Nothing grows visceral fat faster than cutting out protein and just trying to survive on fruit and veg. Visceral fat builds up when you feed the body too much sugar. Dr. Sean has helped thousands of people to reverse all sorts of diseases just by eliminating sugar from their lives. And here's a little quiz just to see if you are fully paying attention. See if you can tell me how many times I mentioned the word sugar in this video, and I will post in my on my page tomorrow and let you know. See if you were right or not. But drop a comment and I'll say yay or no. Maybe we could find a winner. The person that gets closest. The reality, sugar's track record. So here's what the sugar diet conveniently forgets. Sugar's been around for literally centuries. If it was the cure for obesity, the last 50 years would have been the golden age of slim, thriving, healthy humans. Instead, obesity has tripled worldwide. 40% of normal weight people have metabolic syndrome. That's fatty liver, high glucose, visceral fat hiding under the surface, skinny fat basically. Children are showing up with fatty liver disease, a condition once only seen in middle-aged or older alcoholics. They've stopped calling it alcoholic fatty liver disease because it's just now for people that never even touch a drop. They are also affected, and millions of us live on the sugar crash roller coaster, from mid-morning donuts down to afternoon biscuits to late night ice cream. People eat sugar from the moment they wake up in the morning to the moment they go to bed at night. The body never gets a break. And let's not forget, sugar is half glucose and half fructose. Glucose spikes insulin, insulin being the fat storage hormone in our bodies. Fructose trashes your liver. Between those two, it's like a tag team of metabolic destruction. In fact, fructose behaves frighteningly like alcohol. Both cause fatty liver, both drive high blood pressure and insulin resistance, and both will damage your pancreas. And once that's gone, well, I'm afraid it's curtains. Not many people can survive. Well, in fact, nobody survives without a pancreas, but not many people can even survive any kind of those diseases of the pancreas. They are really super, super serious. Take this seriously. This is not a joke. And both increase heart attack risk. It's just like the gift that goes on giving, isn't it? One of the positives that's given us a reason for sugar not being at the root cause of many diseases is that our consumption of it over the last 20 to 30 years has actually dropped. Definitely the increase in our diets of seed oils, which I've talked a lot about recently on my channel, as another poison has contributed to the obesity crisis. But let's not pretend that sugar hasn't done it on its own for hundreds of years, from when sugar was first discovered, in fact. And then it was grown as a crop in the 1600s and then onwards. People have been getting sick from eating it ever since then. There's a lot of blood on sugar's hands. I read recently an excellent book. It's called How Sugar Corrupted the World. So prior to 1600, sugar was a really costly luxury. Only the very rich, the super rich, as we might call them today, only they would ever have it available to them. It was kept in locked boxes in big stately homes. It was that precious. However, with the rise of the European colonies in the Americas in the 17th century, sugar became gradually a cheap and ubiquitous and hugely popular everyday necessity. And the slave trade was born. As huge and cheap labour supply, plentiful labour supply was needed to harvest this, to grow this stuff. It's very, very labour intensive. To farm sugar, and sugar cane we're talking about. So millions of people were enslaved. Sugar became synonymous with slavery. At least alcohol gives you a hangover. Sugar does the same damage, but in silence, with no pounding headache the day after to warn you. Although I have noticed nowadays when I eat sugar, and it's so rare that I've become really sensitive to it. And the only time it has happened I can think of in the last couple of years. 2 years ago, big tin of Quality Street chocolates. At Christmas time, we've bought Quality Streets. They're a British chocolate. We've bought them since I was a child. I no longer really eat them, I just don't eat chocolates, but except at Christmas time. And this big tin was there, and we were playing Cluedo, family around the table. Absent-mindedly, I just was having a few Quality Street, and I probably had 5 or 6, had the wrappers in front of me. They're really pretty wrappers. And then the headache hit, and I just thought, oh wow, it's the sugar. All my life I suffered from headaches. Since I was a child, I used to suffer from severe headaches. All along it was just sugar. I just ate way, way too much of it. And I think it just hits the brain really fast and causes me, anyway, to have a pounding, thumping headache, almost like a migraine. At least alcohol gives you a hangover. Sugar does the same damage in complete silence. Now here's where it gets really sneaky. Most people I talk to will say to me, oh, I don't eat much sugar. Almost the first thing that comes out of their mouths on a discovery call when I'm talking to somebody about coaching. I start questioning them about what they eat and their current eating patterns. But this is what they don't get. They may not be adding sugars to their diet, but hidden sugars are everywhere. Your healthy granola, that can have as much sugar as a chocolate bar. Your flavoured yogurts, they can pack in 5 teaspoons per pot. And even low-fat salad dressings, they're usually sugar syrup in disguise, combined with a healthy dose of seed oil, or unhealthy, depending on how you want to look at it. So bread as well, 1 slice of supermarket wholemeal can carry 2 to 3 grams of sugar. And who eats just 1 slice? Don't get me started on drinks. 1 bottle of vitamin water can give you more sugar than a can of Coke, just with better branding. And just cutting out calories in your drinks, also on a side note, that can go a long way to improving your overall health. So here's an extra angle, skinny fat. This is one of my favourites. And the sugar crowd loves it, and they love to argue, I don't have a weight problem. Well, 40% of people who look slim on the outside are actually carrying dangerous levels of visceral fat, as we just talked about, around their organs. This stuff is horrible. It's inside you, it shrouds everything, it suffocates your organs, it stops them from working. First of all, working efficiently, and then it just stops them from working entirely, eventually, if you get to that point. This is the fat you cannot pinch, and it's the silent killer. So yes, you can be skinny fat, normal BMI, and internally, metabolically, completely wrecked. And sugar is one of the biggest drivers of this. So far, we've torn apart the myths, we've unpacked the sugar gut trick, and we've compared fructose to alcohol. But there's more, much more. And in part 2, I'm going to take you into the dirty politics of sugar lobbying, how governments let the industry call the shots, my personal sugar story that changed everything for me, and of course what actually works for fat loss after 40, because the truth is very simple. Sugar is not the solution, it's the trap. Part 2, lobbying and lies. So why, if sugar is so obviously a problem, do we still get told it's fine in moderation? Money. The sugar industry is one of the most powerful lobbying machines on the planet. In the US, sugar farms make up just 2% of agriculture, and yet they account for nearly a third of all lobbying donations. That means every time new dietary guidelines are written, guess who's whispering in the ears of the committees? Spoiler, it's not the carrot farmers. That's why official recommendations still allow up to 12 teaspoons of added sugar per day. 12. Now think about that. Imagine if the government said, oh, it's fine to have 12 cigarettes a day, just don't smoke 20. You'd laugh them out of Parliament. But with sugar, that's the actual guideline. And cast your mind back to what I've told you or taught you about this before. In our entire bloodstream, that's like if I were to put all the blood in my body into a bucket, and I'm going to do it to show you what that looks like. I've seen Dr. Berg do it before. It's a brilliant analogy and it really sticks in your mind. Here's a bucket full of water coloured to look like blood, and I'm going to just put a teaspoon of sugar into it. Now, 1 teaspoon in all of that blood, that's the equivalent of what naturally circulates in our bloodstreams. Just less than 1 teaspoon in a whole bucket full of blood. So, yeah, it's fine to fine to eat 12 teaspoons of sugar a day. Really? And don't think this is just an American issue. The UK's Eat Well plate is basically sponsored by cereal companies. Breakfast must include grains, yet conveniently forgets that most cereals are closer to dessert than they are to food. Mikey found a friend. Hey! How deep is it? Can you dive, or is it not deep enough? Don't dive if it's not. You're not going to get naked, are you?
Sorry?
You're not going to get naked, are you? Oscar's going to demonstrate that I've never done how cold it is swimming in a river in Andorra. I think you've just got to get in quickly.
Sorry?
I think you've just got to go in quickly. How cold? Woo!
It's cold. Smelly as well.
Oh, is it? The myth of empty calories. So health authorities often say that sugar is just empty calories. That makes it sound almost like sugar is just lacking nutrition, but it isn't particularly harmful. But sugar isn't neutral. It's actively toxic when it's overconsumed. So think about fructose again. It doesn't get burned up like glucose does. It bypasses normal energy pathways and instead goes straight to the liver. And once your liver is overloaded, where does it go then? Straight to your visceral fat. Into the fat that chokes your organs and clogs up your metabolism. So sugar doesn't just fail to nourish you, it actively damages you. It's also known as an anti-nutrient. The skinny but sick problem. So here's another little inconvenient truth that the sugar crowd likes to ignore. Not all obese people are metabolically wrecked. Some, about 20%, are overweight and yet they're still metabolically healthy. They're stable. They've got decent insulin sensitivity, stable blood supply. They are not developing heart disease and they may live a long life. But on the flip side of that, about 40% of people who look slim on the outside, people at a normal weight, they are metabolically sick. High blood glucose, fatty liver, developing heart disease. They don't look unhealthy on the outside, but they are carrying that damage on the inside, aren't they? More summer coat coming out. It's best I do this so that it doesn't fill up my apartment. Look at it, it's like snow. Look at you, snowing. I think he quite likes his shoulders being massaged. Good boy, you're such a good boy. So this is why sugar is such a silent problem. You don't have to look like you've raided the Krispy Kreme factory to be paying the price. Now let me make this a bit more personal. When I hit menopause, which was shortly after my 40th birthday, lucky me, the hot flashes came crashing in. We're talking full body sweats, the kind that makes you consider moving into the frozen peas aisle in Tesco just for relief. And I was an estate agent. I used to stand there on already a hot day in the south of France where I lived at the time and talking to customers and I'd feel myself boiling up from my feet and I'd think, oh no, this is so embarrassing, and they're looking right at me and we're talking about a property they're thinking about buying, and then my face would just break out and I'd start running with sweat and I'd say, oh, it's hot today, isn't it? And it would be happening even on the days that weren't hot. So I tried all sorts of things, but do you know what made everything, made the hot sweats vanish overnight? It was cutting out the sugar. Not some extreme program, not supplements, just not endless calorie counting. I just ditched the obvious stuff, the biscuits, the sweets that I loved, the processed rubbish. Didn't eat too much processed rubbish, but I ate enough of it. And it took almost no time at all, like days. Within days, the hot flashes were gone and they never came back. I read a book called I Quit Sugar by Sarah somebody or other. I'll find it and put an overlay. She's Australian. It was a really good book and it taught me through how to quit sugar. It was good from the perspective that I quit all the obvious sugars, all the added sugars. She didn't really tackle the fact that every starch you put into your body, every grain you put into your body turns into sugar. I don't think the knowledge had got that far yet from when she wrote that book. She probably wrote it 20 years ago. So anyway, that is how powerful removing sugar can be. It doesn't just shrink your waistline, it rewires your hormones and it clears your head and it gives you back your steady energy instead of sugar crashes every 2 hours. And I've seen this with clients again and again. The light bulb moment comes when they realise, oh, it really is the sugar. Oh. Think about this. If sugar were a drug with 45 documented negative health effects, diabetes, stroke, heart attack, dementia, cancer, gout, asthma, depression, early death, and so on, would it even make it to market? Of course it wouldn't. Well, I say, of course not, but some of the drug administration bodies aren't ever so picky about side effects, as we all know. But sugar doesn't come with a foot-long leaflet with a warning label, in every packet. It comes with cartoon mascots and we're told it's part of a balanced breakfast. So what should you be doing instead of buying into this sugar diet hype? The fix is really simple, but really powerful. Number one, I'm always saying this, prioritise protein. Aim for enough to keep your muscle and metabolism strong. Muscle is your metabolic engine. The more you have, the easier fat loss becomes. Number two, cut the processed carbs and the added sugars. They fuel insulin resistance and cravings and fat storage. Number three, eat real food. Meat, fish, eggs, veg, low sugar, fruit, good fats. If your great-grandmother wouldn't recognise it, your metabolism probably won't recognise it either. And train fat adaptation through fasting, through the right sort of movement, through reduced snacking to teach your body to run on its own fat stores instead of demanding Haribo every 2 hours. Sit.
Probably catch it.
No, don't try and catch him. Oh, he's really confident.
Certain I can catch it.
I bet you can't.
Maybe not.
Look at these flowers, look, September. Like these wild crocuses are so pretty. There's absolutely carpets of them. I was thinking the other day, I wonder what the bees, where they find their nectar when there's no flowers, but there's flowers so much of the year. There's some more. So pretty. I like this spot just here. We've been here, we've had barbecues here before. Look, can you see? There's these cookout areas all over Andorra. We just put tables and chairs and there's a horse over there. I'm recording. Oh yeah, that is. And look, water you can actually drink. That's the stuff that is okay to drink. That means drinking water. That is the water you can actually drink. Not advisable apparently to drink it out of the stream, but this is all right. It's delicious. So good. So this is how you actually heal metabolism. This is how you reverse obesity. So let's be clear, this sugar diet, it's not a breakthrough. It's not new, it's just a gimmick dressed up in a lab coat. If it really worked, Krispy Kreme would be the world's top medical clinic, Red Bull would be a health tonic, Haribo would replace Ozempic, and dentists, they'd all be out of a job. But sugar isn't the cure, it's the trap. And once you see it, you just can't unsee it. So if you want the truth about fat loss after 40, instead of falling for silly gimmicks, hit subscribe and grab my free guide in the description. If you're interested in one-to-one coaching, drop me an email, info@emmavoyseyhealth.com, because the sugar industry doesn't care about your waistline, but I do. Hope you enjoyed this video, hope you learned something. Do tune in for my next one. If you enjoyed this one, you might like this one or this one next. In the meantime, stay safe, nourish, don't punish, and I'll say cheerio from beautiful Aran cell in Andorra on this glorious sunny day. Cheerio, bye for now.